Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here this evening for our webinar on growing greener and healthier schools. This is a topic near and dear to my heart. So excited to be having this conversation today. My name is Leah Holloway. I am the program manager with Milwaukee Riverkeeper and one of the coordinators for Plastic Free MKE. We're gonna talk through, I'm gonna introduce our guest speaker tonight, and she's gonna talk through all of the wonderful green infrastructure programming that Reflo is doing, and also the EcoLiteracy Challenge, which is a really fantastic educational resource for everyone. And then I'm gonna dive into the Plastics Education Toolkit recently created by Plastic Free MKE, some of our amazing volunteers. And then we are recording this, so just be aware of that. We will send out the recording to folks who aren't able to join us this evening afterwards. So even if you have to step out at some point, you can always catch up later. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to add them into the chat, and we will do our best to get to all of those by the end of the evening. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you all to my really good friend, Lisa Neeb. She is a Milwaukee native who has dedicated her career to inspiring others to care for the natural world. For the past 13 years, Lisa has shared her passion for animals and the environment, working as a science educator in museums, zoos, and traditional classrooms in Wisconsin and Michigan. She uses hands-on learning and inquiry to encourage students to be curious, creative, and critical thinkers while they take risks and learn by experiencing the world around them. Lisa recently completed her graduate work with Miami University, focused on encouraging positive environmental behaviors in our communities. She is very excited to join the staff of Reflo. She's been there for a couple of years now and work with the Green and Healthy Schools initiative to help connect local schools with nature and encourage children to get outside, to play, explore, and take action to help make the world a better place. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Lisa.
Thank you, Leah. And thank you all for having me tonight. I'm very excited to share some exciting news about some of the green schools that we are working with, and just highlight some of the projects that are happening in and around Milwaukee that are really making some transformative moves to shift the culture at these schools to not only have beautiful green spaces outside of their classroom, but also shift the curriculum and the mindset of the students and the staff that are working in those schools and in those communities. So the core of the presentation that I'm going to deliver tonight is focused on the schoolyard redevelopment projects that Reflo supports with Milwaukee Public Schools, Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District, and a number of other project partners. So we're really going to be looking at that full transformation from ripping up a lot of the asphalt that we see in urban schoolyards and transforming it into a much more inspiring natural green space that brings so many benefits to the children of those schools and the community that surround them. And I am Green and Healthy Schools project manager with Reflo. My work really does focus around the schools and supporting teachers and staff as they go through an entire conceptual planning process to design what they would like their schoolyard to look like, all the way through fundraising, the construction process, and then the maintenance and stewardship phase that comes after these beautiful places that are built. I am a teacher at heart as well, so it's a really wonderful way for me to still connect with students and with teachers and really help kids get outside and do some creative and interesting work when they're out there. So Reflo is a nonprofit that catalyzes sustainable water use, green infrastructure, and stormwater resource management that supports triple bottom line outcomes through strong relationships. We really focus on the environmental, the social, and the economic impacts that different water resource management projects can provide for our partners in the community. We have a number of different program areas. The Green and Healthy Schools program area is, again, the one I'm going to focus on this evening. We do also have rainwater harvesting and urban agriculture projects. Most notably, Cream City Farms is an urban farm that's on a remediated brownfield in Milwaukee. That is a project that we have helped support with green infrastructure on site. There's some solar powered panels on site as well. And it's a really unique place that is operating as a CSA in the community. We have the Milwaukee Water Stories program that helps to share connections and stories that people have related to our rivers and our lake, and all sorts of other themes that can be explored through the Milwaukee Community Map and other resources in that program. There's innovative placemaking, which is really, activating spaces in our communities. This is an example of Fondy Park, where the Fondy Food Market is held, and how this has been transformed into a really vibrant community space that can host, community events. There's a stage, there's a lot of native plantings and bioswales that's managing stormwater on site, and really just bringing in more sustainable features into the community in Lindsay Heights. And then we also host a number of internship programs, which are really connecting our high school students in the Milwaukee area to career development opportunities and learning about green infrastructure, school projects, and really how collaborations work amongst nonprofits, and really starting to analyze how many of the things that happen in the schoolyard projects and a lot of the meaningful work that's happening throughout our community is not done by one individual or one organization, and helping these students to see how important that networking and that open collaboration and communication is to making things happen in the world. So with that, let's talk about green and healthy schools. Many of our schoolyards you'll see, if you drive through Milwaukee, are going to look too much like this upper left photo. There's a lot of asphalt and a lot of green that surrounds the area where students are supposed to be interacting, but not as much natural space as we would like to see on those schoolyards to provide, enriching learning opportunities, calming and relaxation spots for children, and really be able to address some of those social, emotional, and physical needs that our students really are seeking when they're outside of the school building. So these offer a lot of opportunity for us to do something that is more engaging and more sustainable for the community. This is an image here on the top right of a newly completed project. This is Clement Avenue School on Milwaukee's South Side. And this is showing, a transformed schoolyard. There used to be asphalt all in this location, but we've removed that asphalt, put in a bioswale to manage stormwater that has this running path that students can actually move through that space. They can get down close, they can look and explore the plants and really engage in different topography and have really exciting adventures when they're on their schoolyard. And in addition, there is an outdoor classroom structure here to really help facilitate that outdoor learning, no matter what the weather may be. A really important part of our school projects is engaging the community. So when we start a project, we're looking for feedback from all stakeholders. That's not just the teachers, it's not just the principals, but it's really what's important to the students of those school communities, the parents, their community partners, neighborhood members, and anyone who has an interest in helping to support that school. And then to further support the school community and these year-long or multi-year projects, we have the Green Schools Consortium of Milwaukee, which is a network of about 1,000 people who are interested in greener and healthier school initiatives. And we bring each other together in non-COVID times. We love to gather for these wonderful annual Green School conferences, which are super inspiring, where educators come together, different nonprofits, all types of organizations come together and share their best ideas and questions and support for one another, and everyone leaves feeling very excited and ready to take on these new challenges and inspire their students as well. So in lieu of these in-person conferences, we're still able to connect with our network through newsletters as well as social media. And we have done webinars and are hopefully planning something for this August coming up, which would be another opportunity to continue that engagement and really help move the greener, healthier school initiatives forward in Milwaukee. So this is a map that is showing all of the schools that we have worked with formally in the schoolyard redevelopment project that Reflo supports with the help of MPS and MMSD. So on this map, there are 26 schools that are highlighted. There are a lot of dots on there. All of those gray dots that you can kind of see in the background represent the schools in Milwaukee. And then the colored dots are the ones that we are working with. And we'll go through what these different phases mean on the left-hand side. They're all phases of their school year redevelopment process, and there's some details that go along to making sure that those are successful to help the school go from the initial concept of what they want their school yard to look like to actually having the built product and then having meaningful and engaging activities that happen once they're built. The 5 that are highlighted here in green are from our second cohort of schools. These were all constructed last summer, and I'll be able to give some highlights on some of the projects from each of those schools that have gone into construction and have been completed already. So again, here's that picture of all that asphalt. This is Kluge Elementary School on Milwaukee's north side. And as you can see in the close-up, it just is an incredibly vast area of asphalt. And it really, really highlights the need for doing something different. You know, when these schoolyards were paved over many decades ago, it was done, you know, in the hope of reducing maintenance and saving costs and having, you know, open space for children to play. But you can see just from this aerial all the cracks and all of the tar lines and just the lack of activities that are available for the students that are here. And what we see are a lot of, you know, injuries related to slips and falls from that crumbling asphalt, or possibly behavior issues because students don't have things to do. And it's harder to program some of these broader open spaces. So with this vast, you know, sea of gray comes wonderful opportunities for us to do something better, more sustainable, more environmental, and more engaging for student learning and development. And Kluge is actually one of the schools that we've just brought on board this year. They are in the conceptual planning phase, and we've had a few meetings already where we're starting to conceptualize and come up with the designs and figure out what the school really wants to see for their children that are meeting needs, not only from like a recreational standpoint, but from gross motor development, from social emotional needs, as well as ties to the curriculum, which is really awesome. You know, close-ups of some of the things we see on these schoolyards, you know, again, there's the cracking and there's the erosion of asphalt. There's uneven surfaces that are on the schoolyard that can create many problems. And if this is the stormwater inlet where all of the water is to be draining, we can see that that's not happening as efficiently as it could. There's pooling ahead of that. There's water that is puddling here, and in colder times, that all becomes sheets of ice. And it makes these spaces unusable for the schools and for the community. So as we look at these different projects and what the opportunities are, we really start by looking at stormwater and seeing where it flows and where our opportunity to capture as much of that as possible is. And then we start by installing and designing green infrastructure to manage that water. And then we kind of build these other engaging, you know, recreational features and educational features around where some of that green infrastructure goes. And again, you know, though there's cracks and there's asphalt and there's some issues on those schoolyards, they really just represent awesome opportunities to do things that are better. This is Longfellow Community School, which is on Milwaukee's south side. And they are a school that have gone through the full schoolyard redevelopment process. Their schoolyard was redeveloped in 2019. And prior to that construction, you know, their school community is really, really strong and active. They're a K-8 school. And on one of their Earth Day celebrations, they had their entire school community come out and form this tree pattern to show, you know, how they want to celebrate the earth and green initiatives that are important to them, and really show that they as a community are strong and working toward common ideals to provide those more engaging spaces for their children in their community. So supporting that school community, that general interest in greener, healthier schools, the Green Schools Consortium, as I mentioned, is really a collective that helps to bring these projects to life. We can share resources, we can, you know, connect schools with different funding sources, and also help encourage networking. because one school's experience is really valuable to the next. And so we share lessons learned, we share curriculum, and we really just build this network of support to help these schools continue to move forward and do greener, healthier things. Each of the schools that goes through the schoolyard redevelopment project or process is selected in a very equitable way. Schools that are interested in the Milwaukee Public School System fill out a 2-page application. They share why they want that redevelopment for this school based on their need and their enthusiasm. And then schools present in front of a panel of about 50 individuals that represent nonprofits, educators, schools, governmental agencies, funders, all sorts of organizations who want to help these schools succeed. And then that panel actually votes, and based on the selection that's made that night, the top 5 schools receive a conceptual planning grant and actually enter into this process where they then begin the conceptual planning, and then we support them all the way through until that project is built and they are able to enjoy it with their children on that site. So I'm going to take a moment to turn my mic off, and I'm going to play a 2-minute video for you all that really summarizes the schoolyard redevelopment process. You'll see some opportunities, you'll see some completed projects, and it will take you through the 5 steps that I've started to highlight for you. So I'm actually going to click out of here. I have this preloaded already. And I'm going to go ahead and let it play. Maybe. Many Milwaukee area schoolyards are in poor condition and offer little, if any, green space. Schoolyards were originally paved to reduce lawn maintenance costs, but decades of inertia have left deteriorating infrastructure that is costly to repair and impairs the environmental health of our city and the social emotional health of our children. The redevelopment process begins with schools applying to receive conceptual planning support provided by Reflo and the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District. Each year, 5 schools are awarded the planning grant based on their need and enthusiasm for a greener, healthier schoolyard. The year-long planning process consists of monthly green team meetings that culminate in the development of a conceptual plan document that is well supported by the school community, administration, and project partners. Schools spend over a year fundraising with support from the school district, project partners, and community. School districts hire engineering consultants to create the necessary detailed designs before construction can begin in the summer of the 3rd year of the process.
I am not going to litter because water carries trash down hills into the river or lake.
I'm going to remind my family that our choices affect more than just ourselves. Everything is connected.
These projects don't only help our schools receive a new and better playground, they're also helping the environment and making a positive change in our community.
An increasing body of research underscores that students' access to green schoolyards can result in better academic outcomes, increased engagement and enthusiasm, improved social emotional skills, and decreased childhood obesity. Redeveloped schoolyards also offer many other benefits, including improved stormwater management, urban biodiversity, community engagement, and meaningful STEAM curricular connections.
For more information, visit refloh2o.com.
Well, thank you for watching that with me. We're really excited about the projects that we get to work on and the schools that we get to connect with, the relationships we get to build, and the communities that we serve. It's a really wonderful feeling to know that the work that these school communities are putting forward is benefiting so much more than just the students that are at that school. And it's really inspiring to see students and communities actually utilize these spaces, which has been a really wonderful part of my experience in the last couple of weeks, actually. As we've onboarded some of these schools, so these are the 26 schools that we have worked with, you know, these first 5 here, in which represent our 5th cohort of schools to go through this process, are just in that beginning stage. They're really excited. They have lots of ideas. We're trying to bring everyone's ideas together and mold it into something that represents those thoughts and feelings and really is well connected to what the community is looking for. We have schools that are fundraising hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars right now to try and bring those projects to life. We have schools that are set to go into construction within the next month, which is so exciting to see these schools know that it's going to happen and make it a reality after 3 years plus of work that their green teams have been doing. And then we have a number of schools that are in that maintenance phase where there are actually students now on the schoolyards exploring and learning and engaging in these spaces that have been created just for them. And with, you know, with the pandemic, it has been really challenging to allow these children to enjoy these spaces. But now MPS is back in person, at least part of the student population, and it has been awesome to see and hear what children are doing on those schoolyards. And it just, it brings a lot of joy to the people who've been part of these projects, because they know that that work is doing more than just providing a safe play space for these children. It's helping to instill that, you know, that meaning of commitment, that collaboration, and understanding that if you put your mind to something and you work together, things will change and things will happen. And it is also supporting so many environmental practices in these children and creating really wonderful stewards for our environment. As I mentioned, green infrastructure is at the core of it. So our students are learning about science and engineering as they're playing on their schoolyards. You know, we incorporate different kinds of green infrastructure such as rain barrels or water catchment systems, rain gardens, bioswales with native Wisconsin plantings. We're promoting pollinator species and habitats and all sorts of things that you would never experience on an asphalt schoolyard. And it's, you know, helping these students see that these same kinds of strategies that are taking place at their school may be happening in their homes and in their communities. And it's drawing these connections that are allowing them to see something that's so much bigger than the world that is put in front of them. So on to a few of our projects. This is Clement Avenue School. You saw that in the video. Clement Avenue is a wonderful example of a very committed school who has worked very hard on many different green and healthy school initiatives. So many initiatives with such great work, they actually just received the highest Green and Healthy Schools honor from the U.S. Department of Education. They just earned a Green Ribbon School status, which is just so wonderful. And it is awesome to see the pride and the happiness that comes from earning that award. They are just one of 3 Milwaukee Public Schools who have earned that national award, which is really exciting. And we did a nice celebration on their schoolyard last week, Friday. I can share some details on that in the chat when I'm done presenting, but the Lieutenant Governor Barnes attended the ceremony. Dr. Posley, the MPS superintendent, was there, as well as many other dignitaries honoring and really celebrating the work that's happening at Clement Avenue School and STARM's Early Childhood, which is another one of our schools that we have helped support. They have also earned that very prestigious honor of Green Ribbon School. And, you know, their work is very different. They're an early childhood center, so they serve students who are ages 3, 4, and 5. So the considerations and the design for a project on that site are very different for a K-8 school. STARMS is a really wonderful site. All of this Lake Michigan you see is that porous rubber that's kind of spongy, so it's nice and soft for littles if they were to fall or when they're playing and they're running and jumping. It's a very place-based design that's really focused on imaginative play and allowing these students to really be immersed in what the environment is. So as they're playing, they're learning about geography, they're learning about math, they're learning about science, and they're really understanding how all of these pieces are integrated while they're playing, which is a really wonderful thing to provide these children in the school community. So we are just so very proud of both Clement and Starms for earning that honor. And we're excited to celebrate them, and we hope that you all celebrate with us as well. This is Longfellow School again. That's that image of that whole school community in the tree before all of this wonderful green is put in place. Being on the south side of Milwaukee, this is the K-8 school. They had some different considerations that they were looking for their school community, most of which was a soccer field. So underneath the soccer field, which is all artificial turf, is actually a large cistern. So we're gathering a lot of stormwater that's being treated and filtered before that enters back into the sewer system. And then it's also providing this wonderful play space for students in the community. There's outdoor classrooms on all of these school sites. They all look a little bit different based on the needs and the desires of the school. There's bioswales and exploration paths, and Longfellow actually has a really beautiful greenhouse to help support healthy food access on their site. Most of the schools that we work with have raised beds or hoop houses or other types of growing systems to really encourage that healthy food and nutrition that we can help teach with our children. This is Dorfler Elementary on Milwaukee's south side. This is another example of a bioswale that has a walking path that's going through it. So this is going to catch water, help treat it. There's beautiful native plantings in here for exploring and pollinating species to have homes in. There's these really awesome balancing logs and opportunities for children to really create their own games and their own play spaces when they're out on the schoolyard. And then this is Vincent High School, which is on Milwaukee's far north side. Vincent is a very unique site. It's about 70 acres. It has a lot of recreation fields associated with it. And it also had all of this open field that was out here next to the subdivision. And as an agricultural high school, they have a really strong focus on environmental education. They have a working farm on site and a horticulture department. Part of their plan was to create a school forest. So each one of these itty bitty little red dots that you see represents a tree. There are about 2,700 trees that have been planted on the school site that are going to, grow and mature into this beautiful forest that you can wander and walk through and provide amazing educational opportunities for the students who go to Vincent and students who come from other schools on field trips to explore. And additionally, so much habitat for wildlife that can live in here as well. And as those outside school grounds are changing, we see a lot of transformation in what's happening within the school building as well. Each month we meet with the schools and their green teams, which is comprised of teachers and parents and staff and students, whoever in the community is interested in being part of it. And we work together to move these projects forward. We listen to feedback, we incorporate as much voice and opinions from our team members as possible to really make these projects unique and connected to what the school and the neighborhood community are looking for. And we start to see just these huge transformations in how people are approaching their curriculum, how they're approaching recess, how they're approaching behavior management. And it all from the outside in, the entire school community is moving in a different path and becoming a greener, healthier school. We have so many opportunities to work with students and engage them along the way, whether that's letting them draw and sketch what they want to see on their schoolyard, though some of their ideas may not be possible, like ball pits and zip lines and all of these wonderful fun things. We take those ideas and we try to come up with a creative way to honor that idea on something that is more suitable to be on the playground. We really encourage students to share those ideas, build models, help fundraise, and help make these projects a reality, because we know that it's multi-year. It's at least 3 years from concept to when it's built. And we need to make this real and tangible for our students, as well as the staff in the community, so they know that it's going to happen and they're going to see it through. And then once those projects are built, we get to have the celebration and we get to open the schoolyard and let everyone go and explore and play, which is really, really wonderful. So in support of our schools, as they kind of make that transition to the built product, and once it's built to help support environmental stewardship and build eco-literacy, we have an eco-literacy challenge that Leah actually helped to create when she was an intern with Reflo. So I'm going to take just a couple moments to talk about the eco-literacy challenge, and you just have to tell me when my time is up because I'm not paying attention to the clock. You know how it goes. So I'm going to really quickly pop over to our eco-literacy challenge. So it's a website that is hosted through the Green Schools Consortium of Milwaukee. Reflo manages the Green School Consortium, so all of these things are kind of intertwined with Reflo as well. But on this website, there are a number of different resources that are going to help you explore water, sustainability, plastics education, and so many other themes that are supportive of environmental education. And the main piece we have is our activity menu. So I have that preloaded over here. And this activity menu is really awesome. It works as a filtered menu where you can click on and off the things that you're looking for. So if I were looking for climate education activities, I can click on that track. I want something to be virtual, especially in these times, and I want something to be suitable for my 6th graders. And if you click all of those things, it sorts and it puts it in alphabetical order, all of the things that match what your inquiry is. Now, if I wanted to do plastics education, I can do that as well. And we have a few resources that are linked directly to plastics education, one of which being, where'd you go? I put you on. This was supposed to be a little bit smoother. I have the Plastics Education Toolkit right here. And so with each of these activities, this just gives ideas for different curriculum or presentations and organizations that can help support some of those curricular connections that teachers might be looking for, or opportunities that families might want so they can engage together in learning about environmental education and sustainability. So each of these things, is linked to an organization, and then there's a link that will take you directly to the resource so you can explore more and get active and do some learning from these different activities that are listed there. And our main goal is to connect people. We want them to know about resources that are available so they can find things that are meaningful and help build that knowledge and that experience and that love for nature and the environment in each other. But we also would like them to network. So we have a leaderboard where we encourage people to actually submit forms that report the activities that they're doing. Those forms come in, we award them points, and then we're able to highlight the schools that are participating at some level in eco-literacy. We can have friendly competitions between schools. We can see who's participating in the Milwaukee area. We can connect teachers and principals and all of these wonderful connections and networking that's possible. And then we're able to see, on this map from like a physical location who's participating and then at what level. So it's a really wonderful outreach tool for us and a way to connect to so many of the environmental organizations and nonprofits that are happening or that exist in Milwaukee to bring everyone together in the spirit of creating a greener, healthier school and community environment. All right. Get past those. Oh, this slide I will stop on though. So these are some quotes and some reflections from students who participated in a few of these eco-literacy activities. This young man actually participated in a program from Milwaukee Riverkeeper, learning about macroinvertebrates and what he's going to do to help keep the river clean, which is just heartwarming and wonderful that a child who's 4 or 5 years old is learning those words and learning how to take care of the environment. We have some examples from our STARMS community. Again, these very young children who are taking what they're learning and really building off of that and sharing that with their families and sharing it with their friends and continuing to move forward with these ideas of being greener and healthier and taking care of our world. Oh, and lastly, sorry for the click happy, an additional piece that Reflo has been working on and is starting to deliver to schools to support that eco-literacy and sustainable management of these sites once they're built are outdoor discovery carts. So these have been, they're in development. We have delivered a few to schools, but they are mobile outdoor classroom carts where you can wheel them outside, kind of check them out like you would like a classroom. And then inside, there are bins full of supplies to do different learning activities, garden maintenance, trash pickup and stewardship activities on the school site. And there are a number of different writing surfaces. This metal panel is magnetic. You can write student prompts on there as well. There is a whiteboard, there's a chalkboard, and there are just so many ways that students can engage and share their learning when they're outside with a cart that is really built to be that classroom, no matter where they roam on their schoolyard. So I know that is a very broad overview of all the great work that is happening in the schools in Milwaukee through the schoolyard redevelopment program. I am happy to share more. I am so happy to answer questions. And if you would like more information about the project or the Green Schools Consortium in Milwaukee, anything, all of our contact info is here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lisa. The work that you all do is just incredibly inspiring, and I love to see all the updates and all the really good progress that's happening, all the schools that are involved now. It's just so exciting to me. And yeah, it's exciting to connect all of this to plastic free and the work that we're doing as well. Because all of these pieces, even though they might not be like immediately plastic focused, right? It's all part of that bigger picture of environmental education and getting our youth really engaged at a young age and just building that awareness and that connection to the environment. And that all connects to the work that Plastic Free does as well. So do you want to stop sharing and I'll share my screen, Lisa, or do you want to click through for me? I just have a couple of quick slides to talk about a little bit more details into the Plastics Education Toolkit. And you guys will all see in the chat, there's been some links that have been shared, which is super helpful. Thank you all, Justin and Anna, for doing that. Let's see. And share my screen. I just have a couple quick slides I wanted to share with everybody here. So a little bit, if you're new to Plastic Free MKE, this is a little bit about us. Our goal is to reduce single-use plastics in Milwaukee. We are not a single nonprofit organization. We're a movement, and we're really proud of that. It gives us a lot of flexibility in the way that we do our work, and it allows us to have everybody involved. So we've got dedicated community volunteers, nonprofit organizations, government agencies, businesses, you name it. There's so many different types of groups, individuals, and organizations that are part of Plastic Free MKE, and that is one of our major strengths. And all of our programs are volunteer supported. This movement really started with a super passionate group of volunteers, and that is the foundation of who we are and what we do, and we continue to keep that moving forward. So what is the Plastics Education Toolkit? We are in our pilot stage, so at any point, please feel free to give us feedback for what we've produced. We wanted to, just like the EcoLiteracy Challenge with Reflo, we wanted to create a resource of like one-stop shop plastics education to meet any educator's needs. So we wanted it to be really flexible. We broke things out by different age groups. We broke things out by different topics, different learning styles, different types of ways that you might want to include plastics curriculum in your classroom. So we kind of compiled resources that other groups put together. We also created some of our own. We have some volunteers on our team who are current and former educators, and they were like, yes, let's do this. And they created some brand new activities that we're so excited about. There's presentations, fully drawn out lesson plans, videos, reading, so much more. We'll go through it in a little bit. All of these resources can be adapted for in-person or virtual instruction. And again, this was really created mostly by our volunteers with some support from some of our coalition members who work in education. Lisa's on the team that helped put this together. The School of Freshwater Sciences, Environmental Collaboration Office, Milwaukee Riverkeeper, and just a whole other team of folks who have really worked hard to put this resource together. So I am actually going to share. I can pull up, let's see, my website. I think this is the screen that I want. Oh, nope, that wasn't it. Apologies. Where did it go? Okay. There we go. Sorry, I thought I had this ready to go. So to find the toolkit, if you just go to the Plastic Free MKE website, this is our main landing page. And from here, if you go to resources, Plastics Education Toolkit, and then we'll also share the link in the chat so that it's really easy for you all to find. But here it is. This is everything. There's a little information about what it is and how to use it. And then here's kind of the bread and butter of the website. So we've got these different sections here. This section over here, these are fully fleshed out slideshows that you can just show your students. There's a short one that's just kind of like the basics, pretty good for all age levels, ready to go. And then we also have the longer version, which is designed for you to kind of pick and choose what you want to talk to your students about. So maybe you are a chemistry teacher and you want to focus on the slides that are related to chemistry. You can make a copy of this presentation and kind of tweak it to meet your needs. And then of course, you know, it is really long, so you don't have to do the whole thing. Or if you really want to do a deep dive, it's all there, start to finish, everything you would want to know about plastics in a really, really beautiful way. Our team put together this gorgeous presentation that's really visually pleasing and easy to understand and super informative all in one. We also have here plastics activities and free lesson plans. This page is really great. This has got, you know, stuff from our partners. We have stuff from Cafeteria Culture and Sea Grant and Greenpeace. We have videos that Milwaukee Riverkeeper produced that are super fun. We've got our plastic free original activities. So there's a lot of stuff here. And again, these are kind of like fully fleshed out lesson plans and activities that are pretty easy for anyone, even if you don't have a background in plastics, to kind of understand and to use with your students. And again, there's everything. It's art, it's science, it's math. There's all these things that can relate to plastics. And then if we hop back over to the main toolkit website, we also have our reading and video list. There's some great options in here as well. So this could be, you know, students working at home, you just want to give them, like, have them watch a video. Maybe they choose their own video and write a report on it, or give you some sort of feedback on what they learned from that video. And same thing with books. So there's some really great resources here. The final piece of the Plastic Free Education Toolkit is going to be bringing us into your classroom. And so Milwaukee Riverkeeper is working on putting together a curriculum similar to the other ones that we have, where we come to your classroom and we can teach you kind of from start to finish. We can work with your students on whatever topic you want, and plastics will soon be one of those. We are also partnering with Wisconsin Sea Grant right now. We have an intern who is currently working with Milwaukee Elementary, which is one of the Green and Healthy Schoolyard redevelopment schools. They're in their fundraising year, but a classroom of 5th graders reached out to us and they wanted to know more about plastics, but they hadn't had any environmental education really at all this year. So we've been doing a long series of classes with them, starting everywhere, like way back in the beginning, to like, what is freshwater? What does that mean to us? And now we're getting into these super deep, involved conversations about microplastics and marine debris. And it's just so fun to see the students learn and develop along with us. And so we're going to take all of that and we're going to put it together into a lesson that we can bring to your classroom. So this toolkit really has everything from like DIY, you want to talk to your students about plastics, all the way up to like we come in and we do the teaching for you. So that's what I really like about this. It's very comprehensive. There's a lot of good stuff here, and we are looking for feedback. So if you are an educator or a former or current educator, like a non-formal education, formal education, if you are a parent of young ones and you're super excited about learning like what their curriculum is like, anybody at all, we'd love to have your feedback. If you take a look at any of these resources and want to let us know what you think, you can click on this link here and take a little survey. We'd love to have your feedback. And we're gonna continue to revise this resource throughout the summer, and then before the school year starts next year, we're gonna formally launch it and share it with the world, and hopefully some folks will be able to take advantage of it and use some of that great plastics education that we've put together. So that was a really quick rundown of the Plastics Education Toolkit. And yeah, I think now we'll open it up to questions or comments from the audience. If anyone has anything they want to join in the conversation. So again, lots of great links in the chat. Video links, website links, all sorts of good stuff going on in there. And yeah, I'm not seeing any questions in the chat box, but if you have any questions that have come up or anything you wanted to comment on, feel free to unmute yourself and shout it out loud if you want, or you can drop it in the chat and we'll be happy to answer those questions for you. And thank you all for coming today. This is really great. It's fun to be able to share all of the positive success stories we've had in education and plastics in particular over this past year. Ooh, plastic impacts and actions course. I love it. Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah, so I've taken one class through this Cornell civic ecology online course before. It was on environmental education, and they just released this new plastics education one. I believe it's for ages 15 and up, and they're usually very affordable. I think they're like a $60 course, and then there's scholarships available as well. But just thought that could be a really unique opportunity and very timely for this presentation.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing. We'll definitely check that out. Here's a question for you, Lisa. How much money have the schools raised for the green schoolyards?
That's an excellent question, Stephanie. Each of the school projects kind of ranges based on what they are looking for in their conceptual design. Most of our school projects are anywhere between $300,000 and like $700,000 per project. So with the cohort model, it's really wonderful because we can approach funders for larger sums of money. So we work with the MPS grants department, as well as the individual schools, the MPS Foundation, and other organizations to put together some of the larger grants that might go out at the federal level to gather, funding for green infrastructure primarily, which is the bulk of those costs for school projects. And then we do additional fundraising at the school level that helps support with more flexible funds for the different project items that they may want on their schoolyard. And then we also write smaller grants to support educational components, recreation as well. So each cohort as a whole usually ranges about $3 million, which is no small feat, but we have a lot of motivated individuals who want to support these projects. And through all of that work in the grants department and the collaborations, again, we're able to raise those funds to bring these projects to life.
Yeah, wow is right. Collaborations are certainly key for projects like this. And yeah, all of the schools that go through this process, they do really kind of bolster their environmental education. So Lisa's compiled a list of different environmental organizations and environmental education opportunities throughout Milwaukee that schools can take advantage of. And so that's how Milwaukee Riverkeepers got involved with some of these schools. And once the plastic-free toolkit is fully fledged out, that'll go on that list so that teachers have and other educators too, not just teachers, right? Librarians and special project teachers and everyone who's working with a school can really find these resources easily and bring more environmental education into their classrooms without having to do a lot of legwork. A lot of this is standards aligned to make it extra easy for educators to really meet their goals that they have to hit, their targets that they have to hit throughout the year. So we really try hard to make sure that the resources we're providing are meeting the needs of educators in our community and really help bolster their work and not make things harder for them. Thank you again, Lisa, so much. This was great.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night, everybody.